So most recently, I purchased my house, and I was like, what else can I do to make additional income, right? And I think scared money doesn't make money.
That's right. It makes no money.
Yep. And so I figured that if I want to go big, this is where I have to invest. And then that was when I started to look into programs and found yours.
I'm so curious. You said programs, right?
Yes.
So when you say programs, what other program did you look into?
Yeah, I've looked into everything from Amazon drop shipping to Amazon FBA, to other Airbnb programs as well. I mean, back in the day, like 10 years ago, I was doing Mary Kay. I thought I wanted to be like the woman with the pink Escalade, right? And I just didn't get there. I did Herbalife. I did every single
so network
MLM.
marketing.
Yes,
Yeah.
like that. I sold knives at one point, door to door.
Cutco.
Yes.
Is it okay. It's funny.
You know, so I know I have it in me to execute and do whatever I want to do, right? And so tried a ton, but so far the success and what's been happening within the last 4 weeks is invaluable. Like, it's been by far something that you can't even put a price tag on it.
Well, okay. Wow, that's such a huge compliment. But let me ask you this. Okay, before we dive into that part, you mentioned a couple of things. You looked into Amazon FBA and other Airbnb programs.
Yes.
So, with so many programs out there, how did you make the distinction? Like, this is who I want to go with, because the program's not cheap.
Absolutely. I think just like when you invest into something, you don't look at their success, you look at everyone that they touch. And I saw a lot of your students' testimonials. I saw a lot of the success that you have had as well. And that means that I'm a believer in that, right? Just like when you look for a trainer, someone can look really, really good and you're like, oh, I want this person to train me, right? But what about their clients? Like, can they also do the same thing? Some people know the knowledge and can do it themselves, but they can't teach it.
It's a separate skill teaching.
Yes,
you need so much patience.
Yes, you need patience. I think you need to be able to articulate and communicate and share something that is easily digestible for your students as well. And you've done that extremely well.
That is amazing. That's like, it's so good to get this validation.
Yes.
It feels good. So curious, you looked into other Airbnb programs. You don't have to mention names, but when you looked into their program specifically, did you feel like they were good? And if they were, why did you decide to go with mine besides the testimonials?
Yeah, I think they give a lot of the other programs that I saw, they gave me just enough to want to keep you on a hook, but not enough to be like, is this going to work for me? Right? And I think you get what you pay for. And so sometimes what I was seeing from other programs is it would be a one-stop shop. It's quick, it's easy, but sometimes quick and easy, it doesn't, you don't build wealth that way. I do think, I believe that it takes some time. And so I saw it and I didn't see a lot of return. And that was when I was like, I knew immediately after I invested my money that it was not the right move.
for the other programs.
Yes. Been there, done that.
Okay, so the quick and easy programs don't work. What are you able to specifically say what that is?
Yeah, I think they share only high level of kind of the process. I think everybody now has some sort of education on how Airbnb works, right? You find an area, you find a property, and then you make sure you can do it, and then you do it, right? But I think it's the nuances and the details and just like being able to dive deeper and ask questions. And that's another thing too. All of these other programs, you didn't have direct access to any of these people. It was actually an extension of their teams. So what was harder was you were almost playing the game of telephone, which meant response times were very, very delayed. You weren't easily accessible. And so it just made it more frustrating than anything. Yeah.
So wait, you actually signed up for someone else's Airbnb program too?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
What? This is new. Wait, can I ask who?
Yes, it was Airbnb Bay.
Airbnb Bay.
All love and respect, not for me.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool. So now that you studied with me for about a month, how would you compare the two programs? And like, what do you like about her program? Because there must be something that you do like. and or maybe there isn't, or what?
No, I've already quit.
You already got it.
I haven't logged into my program since months ago.
Wow, that's interesting. So
I signed up for three different programs. The other two programs, I couldn't even tell you the name of it. I'd have to go back to my sponsored ads on Instagram.
Wow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then so you signed up for mine, and is it different?
It is different in a sense where you got a one-on-one consult of, with a coach to tell you what exactly you're going to get, what it means, how long the term of the program is, and also all the options that you do have, whether you want a more exclusive program or, overall. And so I think it was just like, whatever you're doing with your team during the consultation, that is where you get the people, and that's where you retain as well. Because I think all the other programs is, it's kind of like the word of the day, right? Everyone's kind of like, ooh, Airbnb, arbitrage, everyone kind of knows, and people want to learn more, but then what happens after that? And so I think like the commonly asked questions and the ability to actually talk to someone one-on-one is very, very, very huge.
Yeah, that is primarily the goal and objective when I built this out. We want to be the exact reference point.
Yes.
And just to be your Wikipedia, like any given time. I know that you text me at night
yes.
and like you're all excited. And you know what? I like it because it gets me excited.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, cool. So what would you say is the most valuable thing you learned so far?
Well, a magician never shares their secrets. I can't share anything, really. Okay. No, I think I'm reminded that the efforts you put into something is what you'll get out. Just to share as well, like I've been in your class now for a month and I've already secured 3 properties. I think it just shows also the dedication of you already laid out the blueprint for us and now you just need to execute, right? Yep. And so again, I was like, okay, if I do this, it's literally in front of me. These are the instructions. Then I will get an output. And that's exactly what happened.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I would say this. My hat's off to you because getting 3 properties in the last month is not typical result. So the timeline and blueprint that I lay out for my student is this: 1 property per month.
Yeah.
That is like very sustainable. I would say that's like underachieving, but super sustainable. So going hard at it and just landing 3 the very first month is huge.
Yeah.
Like I would say that was the pace that I was going at when I first started.
Well, we're trying to be like you, G.
Look, you're gonna okay.
We're overachievers here.
I love it. So the advantage that you have is that you're in an area that where you got those properties are superior, way better than where I started. Yeah, way better. So laying that foundation, if you baby these properties right, they're gonna grow. They're gonna have more babies of their own. You can reinvest the monies, and those 3 properties, I would say, should generate enough profit for you to start additional properties every single month. Absolutely. Without touching any of your own money. Yep. So it's going to snowball into something huge really quickly.
I'm so excited.
that is amazing. So when you got into this, Dee, let me ask you this. What was your biggest fear?
Losing money. I think I know from just like friends who even Airbnb their own homes, or some individuals who have done 1 property, like I think that this is also where a lot of the classes have taught me is how do you maximize and make sure that this is now your business that you want to grow, right? It's not just, oh, I have a couple properties here and there and they'll make money on its own. There's still work that needs to be done. And so my fear was like, it's 1 of 2 things. And it's complete opposite. One is, what if I scale too fast, right? Is there such thing where you grow too fast?
There is.
Right? Because I think there is risk, but it's calculated risk, right? So how much can you put in? How much can you afford to lose, et cetera? It's almost like a gamble, and I'm a huge gambler. And so... Are
you a gambler?
I am.
So am I.
Yeah.
It's the Vietnamese blood.
No, it really is. So that's one thing. And then I think the other side is, just losing money by not being detailed enough or not being careful. So I just need to make sure that, again, I can get really, really excited about a lot of things. And I just want to make sure I do it right. Instead of doing it like don't take any shortcuts. Don't try to, beat around the bush. But those were really my two biggest thing is like, how much is this actually going to do for me? And then when I started to see things go into place, I was like, oh yeah, firm believer.
So let me ask you this. What was the concrete, what was that nail that settled it for you? Like, how did you know? What made you a firm believer to know that you want to start 3 property in 1 month? Because there must be something in there that has set in stone to really prove to you that this works. What is that thing?
Your calculator.
Okay.
Your calculator. I think it's the understanding of how much I need to put in and the potential. And I think just like any sort of sales, right? Like it's almost thinking of this business as like you have unlimited potential in this business. And so I was like, oh, if I can. And once you start making money, you want to make more money. I don't think there's like anything there. So I think that's why it was kind of like, okay, I can do this for 1, but that's not enough because you want more. And so there's also this I just like to know success. And I think that it's different when you can touch it. And it's much more rewarding when you can do it, when it's coming from you.
That's cool. So the calculator, so how do you know the calculator is accurate?
I put a lot of trust in you. I put a lot of trust in you. No, it makes sense though, right? I think that like sometimes it's like I'm not good at math, so don't ask me any math questions. But I think it's just understanding. It is simple math though, right? Like if you charge a specific amount a night, and you get a certain percent of people to stay, then you'll make X amount, and then you have to think about the maintenance of everything. And to be able to get a profit, you just need to make sure that you do all these other things. So it's simple. Like it's just making sure that I had access to that and to be able to actually see it come to life. And then I think what most got me excited was when the first owner said yes. Because you go through no's first.
Okay. So you went through the calculator and you plugged in all these numbers and these projections. But my question is, how are you confident that these projections that we're plugging into the calculators, that the numbers that it's spitting out is trustworthy?
It's been done by so many of your students. Number one, I think there's so many people that I can look forward to and look towards and actually hear of their stories as well, that if you follow this process, this is what happens, right? And then also just making sure that like the numbers don't lie. People lie, men lie, women lie, the whole thing, right? Numbers don't. And so when your rent is X amount of dollars, but you realize you're charging X amount a night, I mean, you're already over, you know what I mean? And so I think it's just seeing it and you're like, wow, can be a very, very profitable business.
It's super profitable. Quick. Yep. Super profitable. So the units that you specifically picked out, they land anywhere between, I would say on average, between $5,000 to $10,000 a month of profit, depending on which one.
Yeah.
So out of the 3 that you landed, I think one will land between 5 to 10, the other 2 about 5. Like that's profit after the bills are paid.
Yep.
From what I recall when I reviewed all your deals. So you're definitely on the right track.
That's very, very exciting. Yes.
Definitely on the right track. So what are your goals? Like what do you want to achieve?
I want to quit my 9 to 5 eventually.
Okay.
As much as I love like working and and traveling with them, and I love my team and everything, and I think it's nice and stable. I used to be like such a corporate snob. I was like, you put money in the 401k and you do this and that. But I think one is I definitely want to have just that freedom. And I think nowadays, what we've learned from the pandemic even is when life slowed down, what we wanted was to do what we want on our own time. And when it comes to a traditional 9 to 5, for example, you have to request time off. Some people only get 2 weeks. I might be lucky and get a little bit more, but like you're still limited to so many rules and red tape of an organization. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with it, but I do think that financial freedom is huge. I also think time. I'm coming to a point where I think about like the future, long term, like family, kids, and
do you
how
have
to
kids?
set. No, not yet.
How many do you want?
3 kids.
You want 3 kids?
Yeah, I want 3
cool.
boys.
You want? Wow, that's a very specific goal.
Watch me get 3 girls.
Don't jinx it.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, I want 3 boys, but no more because then I have to get a larger car. You know, I can't fit them all in a sedan.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's hard to fit 3 boys even in a sedan.
In a sedan as they get older. Yeah. But generational wealth, I think, is a big financial freedom. And really just like getting my time back. You know, I grew up fast as a kid and worked really, really hard. There were times in my life where I worked, 3, 4, 5 jobs.
Wow.
Just to either pay the bills, or I was in a lot of credit card debt, So I worked around the clock. And I think that I still have that hustle mentality, but I want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
I want to be present. Like, I think that so many of us, and my mom said this for the longest time too, she's like, you can't just live to work.
That's exactly it. Walk me through this. When you say you want to quit your job, what's that magic number that would get you there?
Selfishly,
Yeah.
if my annual net worth is $5 million, I'll be good.
Okay. So 5 million is you'll be good, but what would it take for you to quit your full-time
I'll
job?
probably quit at like $1 million.
I'm
quitting next year.
Yeah, you're pretty much on pace, because if you think about it, these 3 units is roughly about $200,000 annual.
Yeah.
Annual income. So if you just double that in the next month, which I believe you can pretty easily, people are knocking on your door to hand you properties.
Yeah.
So if you're at 6 unit, you're about, I would say, like conservatively $300K.
Yeah.
Right. So $300K a year. And with Airbnb, working remote, you definitely get your time freedom back.
Yes. Yep. And that's the thing. I have so much more I want to see. And I think it's not even like, oh, I don't want to work or I don't want to do anything. It's just, I want to do it on my time, and that's such a millennial thing for me to say. I feel like nowadays all these kids are so entitled and they just want a promotion. They just want more money and all this stuff. But I really, really do think that this is an unlock, for those who really, really want it. And for those who can, like these are some keys to get you there.
Amazing. So, okay. So far, now that you've been doing this for a month, what has been the biggest challenge for you? Like, what was at any point did you want to quit?
I'm not a quitter. So let's just say that. We'll start there. We don't quit.
Unless you're Airbnb Bay, but
yes, yeah, definitely quit there. I think the hardest part is I hate reading. I really do. And I hate fine print. So I think that really understanding regulations is something to not take lightly. I think that there's a lot of things you can get, because there were some properties and some places that I looked into first and I was like, oh, these are great, like they're big money makers, right? But sometimes like not everything is as it seems to the eye, and it's probably because it might be banned in that location.
Exactly.
Or you're not even at the point where like, the owner's going to say yes. And so just having the insight and the knowledge and the curiosity to want to learn more is really, really important. But definitely when I started being like, I have to look at rules and regulations for each of these.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, know? But then once you get it going, you're like, there's only 50 states, I mean,
exactly. But, and you know what? Everything that you're feeling about regulations and how you don't want to do it, people who do quit easily actually don't do it and quit. So guess what? It actually gives you an advantage, because now you already understand it. You know how it works. You're through the door. Yeah. All these newcomers who potentially want to do what you're doing and they don't have the stones and the capacity and the energy and the drive to do what you do. Yeah. They look at these regulations. They're like, oh, I don't want to read it. And that's it. They never enter the market. Yeah. So that just means it's a bigger piece of the pie for you. Exactly. And that's how I like to see it. Yeah, no, and you're 100% right. I think that sometimes people do want to take the shorter route, right? Like the easier route. There are a ton of places where it's just, there's no rules, right? Phoenix, for example. Yep, there you go. You're giving free knowledge out there, But it's one of those things where it's like, if everybody knows something, then the amount and the time, like there's just so much that goes into it. And it's like, no, take a different route. It may take a little bit longer, but the outcome is so much greater. It is. So yeah, I'm glad that you chose that market. That's a very hard market to work. And I don't recommend it to people, even though it's so profitable. Yeah. Because it's easy to make a mistake. Yes. Very, very easy to make a mistake. So Yeah, I tried to pick easy markets plus easy regulations to understand for most of the people that I work with.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you picked that specific market. It's like 10 out of 10 difficulty, but you nailed it.
Yeah. Love it. I mean, I think I will say like my next wave will probably be somewhere in the medium. Like I'm like, okay, I'm done with regulations, you know?
Well, I would say stick with that.
Stick with that. No, for sure.
Scale the crap out of that.
Yes, yes.
Like next year, you know, when we have the same conversation, it's not going to be, you know, in SoCal.
It's going to be insane. When we have this conversation, I'll be sitting right here, or maybe I'll host you at my place.
Host me at your place. Okay.
Yes.
I'll fly from Vietnam to wherever you're at.
Yes, yes,
you know,
yes.
so yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see that.